Alright, so let's see if our local host, local server is working. It seems to be orange there, but that, let's see if this server is working. Okay, and so we'll go to our server directory, and use this. So let's just quickly recap what we did last week. Okay, so we created a basic login form. Okay, this is what the front end looks like. Let's take a look at our code here. And the other thing I'm going to do is, using my WAMP tool, I'm going to open up PHP MyAdmin. Okay, so we use the doctor's office as the demo, okay, as the practice problem space. So we have two tables, doctors and patients. And in doctors, there's username and password and an ID. And then in patients, oops, let's go back here. We have similar information. So first name, last name, phone, health card, sex, age, weight. Okay, so that's our database structure. Pretty simple. And so this is our main code, our PHP code that we're concerned with. So because we're using sessions, the first thing we have to do before any HTTP is output, we need to start a session. If we output something and then try and start the session, we'll get an error. Okay? So we have to, starting the session is the first thing we do. Then we create some strings. So the first string just contains the address of our database server, okay, because they can reside on different physical machines. In this case, they're on the same physical machine, so we just say localhost. But that could be any IP address. Okay. Then we give it also the database name, which in this case was doctor's office. We give it a username and password. So remember, this is different than the username and password I used to log into PHP MyAdmin. Different password. This is a password. Consider the web server a user of your database. Okay, so the Apache server is a user of your database, and so you need to give a username and password to your server, web server, to use on the database. Okay, it's also different than the username and password the user enters, like if they go here. Those are three different username and password sets. Okay, different. So the one in here is for our web server. Okay. So usually what you would do is you would put this code in a function in its own file somewhere, because you'll probably be calling this quite a bit, and then you just call a function, right? And a lot of the PHP frameworks, which we won't have time to get into in this course, but you should definitely, if you're interested in this stuff and you're serious and you want to work with web technology, PHP frameworks especially, they are really the current technology that's being used, right? So what it is we're learning just raw PHP and MySQL and HTML. We're at the lowest level, okay? So what these frameworks do is they put a layer of abstraction over top of all the stuff we're learning, okay? And so what that means is that it's easier. It's much quicker, right? You would, like, in order to create a login authentication system, you wouldn't have to do everything we're doing. It's sort of built into the framework. Okay? So that being said, you need to learn this stuff first so that you understand later, if you move to a framework, if and when, that you understand what's going on underneath. Okay? So what a framework will do is a lot of this stuff here, all this database connection, even the select and the insert, it's abstracted away from you. So you don't really deal with this. You just deal with high-level stuff, like take this object and stick it in the database. It makes it much easier, but it helps to understand what's going on underneath, which is why we're learning this stuff from the ground up. Okay? Okay. So once we have these strings set, then we create a new database object using this PDO constructor. Okay? So we pass in all of our strings, and now our DB, we're connected to the database. Now we can use our DB, this DB object, to run queries. Okay. So then we've created a couple of links. We'll come back to that. Now here, this is where we kind of first check. This is our authentication system. We're going to check to see if anyone's logged in. So the first thing we do is we use this isSet function. Okay, and that checks to see if a specific variable is null or not. Because if no one's logged in and this variable hasn't been initialized, and we try and access it, PHP will throw an error. Okay, and we don't want that. That'll look ugly. So what we do is we first check to see if it's set. If it's not set, don't worry about it. We're not logged in. If it is set, then so if it's true, then we're going to print out the username. Else, just say welcome guest. And probably I should have another else here, so that if is set is whoa, what just happened there? Oh, so if is set is false, then it will also print out welcome guest. Okay. Okay, so then we have down here, this is our login form. Okay, so remember there's two important things in the top part of our form tag. So first we give it the method, and we're using post. What's the other type of method? Get. And what's the difference between post and get? Get puts the information on the URL. Okay, post does not. So you would not want to pass password information through the URL. That's insecure. You don't want to do that. Okay. So what we do is we use post. Now we might want to use get if we're passing information that we don't care about security. So things like, let's say, an ID for a page or something, because then we can bookmark that because it's on the URL. Okay? So the other most important part of this is the action of the form. So we're telling it, when you submit this form, we're going to go to a new page called login, and all the information that was embedded in that form will be passed to that new page. So let's go to the new page, which is here. And so again, right off the bat, we do session start. Okay, and see how now we have this database connection object again. But we could pop this in a function somewhere. We haven't really talked about functions, but functions work in PHP pretty much exactly how they work in any other language. And maybe we'll go over that quickly today. But you could put you can put a function in a PHP file, in another file, and then you include that file in the PHP file that you need access to that function. So we could put this call in a file called, let's say, database.php inside a function called connect to database, and then we could just call that function instead of retyping this all over, right? Because what if we change the password or something? Then we would have to go through dozens or however many files we have. But if we only have it in one file, we just change it in one spot. Okay? Okay, so again, the first thing we do is we start our session and we connect to the database. Then we do a similar thing. We check to see if no, this was something different. This wasn't for this was for logging out. But so this is now we're getting the data from the form. So remember, because it was passed as post, all of our data is accessible through the super global array called post. And then we can use, it's an associative array, so we use the variable name to access it. And so then we'll get whatever was in. Here, let's just close all these. Whatever was in here, in this text box here, gets stuck in here now. Okay, same with password. And then what we do is we create a query. Okay, so we're going to select all from doctors where username is equal to what was play ID? What were we doing with play ID? What the heck is that? Play ID. That's weird. I don't remember why we did that. Get. What are we sending as get? Nothing. Maybe that was for the play ID. Okay, hang on. Let's just do this. Undefined play ID. Yeah, what the heck? 26. I'm not sure what we did here. Why do I have play? See, really, this should be. This should be username should be here. Okay. I have no idea what is going on here. Does anyone remember what we were doing last? I don't remember doing that. It doesn't make any sense. We'll get rid of it. Okay. So what we're doing. So first we're getting the username the user entered, and then we're going to do a query. So we're going to say, give me all the doctors where the username is like this username, equals this username. Okay? Then we're going to actually run that query. So using our database object, we're sticking our string into there, we're running it, and this returns the results of the query into this variable. Okay? Then we can use this for each structure to iterate through each of the rows. Okay, so probably in this case we're only going to have one row returned. Okay, and so we're going to now get the password. So it's returned a row. It's like we're returned this row. We're returned this. So I get an ID, I get a username, and I get a password. Okay, and it's returned. And then down here I just have a little bit of logic to then check to see if they match. So if a user was found, right? If you searched in a database and there were no users, then say something like user not recognized. Okay? If it is found, then check the password. If the password matches, then grant them access. So then we say user logged in equals true, the username equals the username, we print them a welcome message. If not, then we're going to print them the problem message. Okay? Okay, so everyone up to speed with that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a form to, let's say, register a new user. Okay, so let's do that. So we haven't. All we've done so far is because I entered the database manually, I entered the information manually into the database. Okay, but usually you don't do that. Okay, you shouldn't really do that. Like so, especially for your users, you want to. This critical stuff you want to abstract away. You don't want your users to have access to your tables, obviously, okay, because that's problematic. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to insert into, let's say, patients. Okay, so what we're going to do, we'll create a new page. And we'll call this page register.php. Okay? Okay. So, what's the first thing we want? So we want to create a new patient. What are some things that we're going to need here? What do we need as far as HTML? What's that? I didn't hear.
We need to get the details here.
Yeah, so how do we do that? What do we use? No, but what HTML element do we use to get information from the user?
We have to create the sign-up form.
A form. We need a form, right? So let's do that. Let's create a form. Well, I guess we need some. Or no, this is going to be a PHP file. So we'll just let's just create a form. We'll just go for it. Okay. Okay. So we'll come back to our action and our method in a second. So what types of input do we need? What's the first thing that we need to collect? First name. So this is going to be text. Okay. And name. What's the name? First name, right? Okay. What else do we need? Let's just copy this. We need a last name. Okay. What else do we need? Phone number. Okay. Phone. Okay. What else do we need? Health card number. Oops. Okay. See, these I consider these variables, right? Don't do this. That's meaningless. That'll be meaningless to you in about 3 hours because you'll forget. Okay? So even see, I was looking at code that I wrote last week. I had no idea because play ID, it was something, I don't know, it was ridiculous. I couldn't remember, right? So you name your variables the proper, something proper, and it'll help you. Okay, what else do we need? Sex. So, should we have a text field for this? Yes? A checkbox? Okay, sure. We could have, or we could have drop down. We could have a couple of things. So, yeah, let's radio button should be okay. So we'll do this. We'll say input type equals radio, and then name equals sex, and value equals male. Okay. And we'll just copy this. Yeah. Okay, well, let's take a look at our form. I always like to check. Like, you should never do too much code before you check, right? Always, do a little bit, check. Do a little bit more, check, because you don't want to compound errors on top of errors. Okay. So register.php. Okay, so here's our form. It looks a little weird because we need to give it some labels, so let's do that. We'll say first name, last name, phone number, and health card. Is that one word? Sex. Okay. And, okay, let's see how that looks. Oh, so again, you shouldn't use BRs. I'm going to use some line breaks just because I want to focus on the server side. Okay. Here's our form so far. Okay. And what else do we need? Age and weight. So, how should we do age? Should we do a text box? Drop down? Okay. But it's just, yeah. Drop down would probably be, well, it's just that there's going to be at least 100 things, right? You need from 0 to 99 at least. A text box, it's a judgment call here. It's a judgment call. I would say, let's go with a text box. What did we call this? What was it? Age? And age, we'll say in years. Okay, just to be specific. And finally, weight. And also, we'll make that a text box as well. Okay? And finally, input type equals submit. And name equals, value equals create user, or patient. Okay. here we go. So this is our registration form. Let's just to be, let's put an H1 registration form. Okay. Here we go. So what do I have to put in my form? What do I have to put in my top of my form tag? Action? What? So what's action again? Oh, in general, what is whatever I put in action? What does that mean? What am I doing? The same page? What do you mean? So when I was in login.php, index.php, and I had my form, what does it mean that I put login.php here? It goes there, right? It passes all the data from the form into that file. It's like a link. It's like the href in a link tag. Exactly. Okay. So we're going, because there's a page that holds the form, and then a page that processes the form. Now, theoretically, it could be the same page. You could pass it to itself, and then you'd have some PHP code that would then look through. You could do that. We won't do that today. It's a little complicated, or a little confusing for this example. Okay, so what should we call the action file? Yeah, so maybe we should change the name of this file. So, or another thing might be so any file that connects to the database, maybe we'll end it in DB. Okay. So for example, here this is my database page. So we'll rename it login.db. Okay. And then what do we have to change? We have to go here and change this. Oops. Okay. And we'll keep this as register, but we'll create a new file called register.db. Okay? And if we really wanted to get specific, we could call this page registration form, maybe, right? So remember, naming your files, naming your variables, don't just spend some time thinking about it, because it can especially when your project gets a little large, it can really make the difference, and when you're working with multiple people. Okay, so that's why also using a framework helps with that as well. It's your code is already organized. It has a naming convention already. So, but if you use raw PHP HTML, you kind of have to establish that on your own. Okay. Okay, so our action is going to be register.db.php, and what's the other part? What other thing do I have to include in my form? Sorry? Method? So what method do I want to use? Post, yeah. Okay. Okay, so what will happen now if I do this? What's that? Methods? Post and get. That's it. Yep. Okay, nothing, because it just goes to a blank page. Okay, here we go. So let's remember, I always like to test it as I go, right? So I'm passing data from one thing to another, so we want to test to make sure that's happening as we expect, right? Because remember, you don't want to compound errors on top of errors, because then, let's say if the roof is leaking, there's water coming through here, right? And we just fix the tile, but there's a hole up on the roof. That's what you need to fix, right? So it's the same thing with coding. You want to fix the big problems first. So the first thing that we want to do is, so how do we access the form data? Right? So we're passing all the data from here using post. So how do we access that form data in our second page? Get? Post. But what do I just say? Post? What do I do? Yes, $_post. That's our super global variable. and then we have our square brackets and our quotes, and then what do we put inside the quotes? Yeah, whatever the name of the field is. So we could just copy it from here, post. Okay? So I missed one thing, and that we have to tell it that we're using PHP. Okay? Okay, and so let's make this equal, let's make first name equal to whatever post is, and let's, again, I always like to check, let's make sure that the data is actually being passed across. Excellent. Okay, so we'll do that. We can assume everything else is working more or less, so we will just, now we need to fill in the rest of this. Last name, and what else do we have? I always like to copy and paste where I can because you know, I have fat fingers and I make typing errors a lot. So, you know, oops, see, even there. So copy when you can, and then you won't make silly errors. Because remember, SQL queries, if it's off by an extra space, a capital instead of a lowercase, and the query will fail. Okay, so it has to be perfect, character by, you know, perfect down to the character. Okay, and we'll just 1, 2. Okay, so 6. Oops, and age, and that's it. Okay, so let's we'll just check to make sure again, just to make sure our age is being printed out as well. Oops. Okay, so we have a problem here. Undefined. What did I do here? No, I know, but it's. Oh, I forgot weight, but this is for sex. So I'm just trying to figure out why. Hang on, why is this not working? Radio. Let's see. Why isn't this working? What was it? Line 6. This post. Undefined index. Okay, so it's not coming through with my radio button. What's the matter here? What's that? Oh, okay, but that shouldn't mess up the. That was a problem, but that's not this problem. Okay, hang on. Yeah. Okay, well, we have a value here. Value, female, male. Okay, I'm going to come back to this in a second. So we'll just, for now, I'll figure out why this. So there's something odd about the input radio type passing through post, and I'll fix that. I'll figure that out offline. I just want to continue with our database stuff. So no, because see what happens is this is like one, it's part of one unit, right? Because when we go here, it's either, oh, that's why. That's probably why. Okay, let's go back here. Because that's why. Okay, why didn't it? Oh, echo 6. Okay, so the reason was because it didn't have a default value, and the way you do that is, so we'll be slightly chauvinistic and make male the default, but we set the checked to be true. So now it should have a default. Okay. Okay, so that was the problem. So because it didn't have a default, so remember these two. This is like one element, right? And so the value of sex is either male or female, depending on which one is checked. Okay, that's why that wasn't working. Okay, and see, that's why I like to do those checks, right? See, we did that check because sex isn't being passed. But now imagine if we went ahead and we were now inserting our stuff into the database, and we look in the database and we see, sex isn't being put into the database. Why? Is there a problem with the database? And then you're going to be looking at your query and saying, where's the problem in my query? But actually your query's fine. It's just the fact that it's 2 steps back, right? So always test as you go, okay? Okay. Okay, so now that we are, actually let's just, yeah, we can move forward now, I think. So now that we have, we've got our, and wait. Okay, so now what we have to do is the same thing that we did in our login. Where's our login page? Our login DB page, okay? So actually, let's do this now. Let's create a new file called database.php, okay? And we're going to take this from here and we're going to paste it in here, okay? And we're going to make this a function. So in PHP, let's see, we don't know, that's JavaScript. We just, so we're going to call it connect to database, okay? And it's not going to take any parameters, and it will return our database object, okay? Does that, so everyone here understands what a return, you know what a return value is? You understand what that is? What that means? Yes? Let me know if you don't, because I'll talk about functions if we need to. Right? So I'm going to call a function, and it's basically going to return this value back. Okay? So now what we're going to do is instead of, we need to have a function like this. Function. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our login, and we're just going to do this. We're going to say db equals connect to database. Boom. And same thing here. We're going to say db equals connect to database. Okay, now I'm forgetting one thing, which is I have to include the file that has the function that I want to use, okay? Because if I don't have this include, let's try it. Let's get rid of this. So let's go to our, back here. Okay, what was it, index? Okay, so see, undefined function, because it doesn't know where to look. So now what we're going to do is we're going to include our PHP file, which was database.php. And we have to do that for register.database and also login. Do we... No, I don't think it's like that. Let's try it. Nope. Okay, what did it say originally? Parse error. Unexpected. What? There's no... Oh, database. I see. What did I do here? Why did I forget how to make functions? That shouldn't matter. What am I forgetting here? Okay, let's try it. Maybe that was just what was the problem. Oh, that was it. That was weird. That shouldn't matter though. So it didn't like the fact that my bracket was on this line. So I moved it down here. So now it's fine. Okay? So see now how, let's say we change the password. I just change it in this file. No, I don't have to go here. Look, now it's just this reference. Okay, much easier now. So a framework will do things like that for you, but much, much more. Okay? Okay. So you always wanna reduce you want to reuse code as much as you can. Okay, you don't want to be retyping, copying and pasting. Okay. So we're going to go back to here. So we have our database connection now that we've put our database connection in this file here. So we're going to do the same thing. We can basically just copy from here, login DB. So we're going to, okay, so we already did that. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to create a query. Is this in my, we're going to go to register. So we're going to use our database object. And we're going to, no, first we're going to create a query. Okay? And now, remember, PHP is a great tool, PHP MyAdmin, especially if you don't know SQL well. I don't know it well. I'm not an SQL expert. I know it well enough to sort of get by and create websites. But you can go as far deep in database stuff as you can with web design in itself. It is a deep, deep, deep topic. You can learn a ton about databases. So what we can do is we can use PHP MyAdmin to insert a record manually. It'll give us the SQL. We can copy and paste and change it to our needs. So I want to insert a new record. Okay. So I went to insert, and now in the patients table. And so remember, ID is auto increment, so we don't worry about that. And we're going to create a new patient. Bob Smith, 555 666 66666, and health card like this, and sex is male, age is, he's an old dude, and he doesn't weigh too much. Okay, go. So notice we have our SQL code laid out nicely for us here. So this is specific to that query. So let's just copy this. Okay. And let's go back here and paste it into our PHP file. Okay. So let's break this down and have a look at what exactly we're looking at. So this is our query. So just like, remember our first query, select star from. So now instead of selecting from, we're inserting into. Okay? So we're inserting into the patients table. So what we're doing is we're saying, I want to insert ID, first name, last name, phone, health card, sex, age, weight, in this order. These are the fields that I want to insert. And here, these are the values that I want inserted into the database. Okay? So, what do I have to change? So this is Bob Smith, hard-coded. What should I change this to? To what? Exactly. We're going to have a variable because it's going to then input whatever it is put in the form. Okay? So first, let's make this a string.
Can you write this insert statement on the page?
Yes, but I wouldn't. I would keep it here. You can write, using these include statements, you can put anything in any other PHP file and just include it and you'll get access. But when we run this query, it'll be stored in the database. Yeah, we'll see in a second. So let's turn this into a string. Quote, and we'll end this. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to concatenate this string. So we need to end it. See, I'm ending it with a double quote. And now I'm going to put in here first name. Okay? And I'm gonna, for a second, I'm gonna leave the rest of this in. I'm gonna test it now. Okay? So now we've created our query. Now what do we have to do? We have to run the query. So now we have DB, right? Just the same as when we, almost the same. So now we're going to use exec, okay? And we're going to pass in our query. No, not quest, our query, okay? And it's going to return an insert count. So it's going to tell us how many rows did you insert. Here, I'll move this up so you guys can see. Okay? So now this is going to now run this query. So again, I like to test as I go. So let's make sure that it's working. So we'll go back, register. And so let's do this. We'll just put this in and we'll create it. Okay, let's see what the database looks like now. We didn't get any errors. That's promising. Awesome. There we go. Okay, but so see, it's still put in this because I didn't change it. So again, I just wanted to make sure that it was correct up until that point because maybe, you know, I missed something here. Or, so now we're going to do the same thing we did before. Okay, so notice how, so I have to see how this is the end of the hard-coded string and then the beginning of our variable. Dot here, that's concatenating. So you're taking a variable and then sticking on a string on either side, right? So now we're going to do the same thing, right? So we're going to end the string, concatenate, and then last name. Okay, same with this. End the string, concatenate, phone. Okay. End the string, concatenate, health card. And let's copy and paste.
Why would you concatenate here?
Because we're mixing in. So let's look at this. So string, or let's say temp string, equals hard coded, right? Plus, oh, we got to put this in here. Okay, plus variable, or concatenated with variable. Okay, so variable equals test. So now, what the value of temp string will be hard-coded test. So you're mixing it together. So all we're doing in this case is now we're also on the other side of that variable is another hard-coded string. So we're just sticking it in the middle. So we have to concatenate on either side of our variable. Okay? So we'll get rid of this. So then again, end string, concatenate, and sex. $. Yep. Oh. Oh. And then end string, concatenate, age. And end string, concatenate, weight. Okay. So let's see if the whole thing works now. We're going to do a test. Okay. Cool. See? Okay. Everything's nicely inputted. Okay, now remember, attention to detail. Watch this. Okay, didn't work. Okay, nothing. Just because of one thing. I just took off this quote here. The whole thing fails. Okay, so that's why I like to test as I go. Okay, okay, so that is how we insert. Okay, is everyone pretty clear on that? Okay, so that being said, let's jump a little bit around. So we're going to talk about security just a little bit. And so now I'm going to teach you how to properly hash a password. Okay? Okay, let me go here. Cut this out of the video. That's okay. So I'm going to upload some notes on security. Okay, so as you'll see in a minute, storing non-hashed passwords is risky. Okay? And it's the kind of thing, if someone sees you do that, it's an automatic indication that you're a rookie. Okay, so this is the kind of, you have to do this stuff. Okay, so let's go back to here. So in addition to last name, first name, let's also, we'll add in a few more things. Let's add in username and password. Okay. And so, what do we have to do to the database? We have to change the structure. So we go to structure, and now we're going to add 2 columns after ID. Okay, we're going to go. And so, username, varchar 200, password, varchar 200. Okay? Okie doke. So now if we go here and we go to patient, so now look, now we have 2 new fields. Okay.
We can only put values from the string. If you want to send
No, we could do it directly in here if we wanted to.
no, from the page.
Sorry?
On the page you're writing the first name and last name and phone number. If you want to insert a column, we have to put it here, right?
If we want to create a new column, yeah, we have to do it in
Done it, right?
yeah. Because just creating a new form, see, actually, if you use some of the frameworks, do that automatically for you. As soon as you create input, it automatically does the database. But now we have to do it ourselves. Okay? So, what else do we have to change? In our register DB, so now we need 2 more of these things. We need username, and we need password. Okay, so, and then also we have to change this. So I'm going to copy this, username, password, and I'm going to copy this. Okay, username, password. Okay, so notice the order matters. So username is going to go into username, password into password. If you switch the order, the opposite will happen. So it doesn't match the names, it matches the order. Okay? So let's try it. Let's try our new form. Okay, username, and let's say password. Here, and here, and here, and here. Okay, let's try it. Okay, now if we look in our database, why didn't that work? Let's see here. Let's do this. Echo query. Insert ID, username, password. Username. What did I do wrong here? What's that? Authentication? What do you mean? Oh, I'm just trying to insert a row. Let's see here. Doesn't seem to be insert. Oh, it is. Okay. So notice how the password is stored as plain text. So if I was somehow able to access this database, let's say this is a database for whatever, it has tens of thousands of records, okay, and also, you know, probably it would also, let's say, store their email address, okay. So now if you store your passwords as plain text, now a hacker has, you know, a lot of people use the same password for all their stuff. So now a hacker can go and try all the email password combinations on anywhere, and they can break into your users' accounts, possibly. At least some percentage, even if it's 0.001%. If you have 10,000 users, that's a bunch of users that are going to have their password is going to be the same for your site and their email maybe, and they're going to get hacked. Okay, so you don't want to do that. We want to do something that'll avoid this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do something called we're going to hash our passwords. Okay, let me see here. Where's my example? So I wonder if this will work. We might have to install something in PHP, but let's see if this will just work. It should work because I've demoed this before. Let's try it. Okay, so we're going to use something called the secure hash algorithm. So this is a function built into PHP. So the first thing that we do is, so we have our string already, which is our password. Okay, and then we're going to create two separate variables, string variables, called salt and pepper. Okay, and we can essentially give these any value we want, some kind of random whatever, anything. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to salt and pepper the our string a couple of times. Okay, and you'll see. So let's do this. So we'll say salt equals SA1, and then we pass in the salt. So we're going to hash our salt string. Okay, so let's do this. Let's echo out our salt string here. So we're passing in foo into this function, and let's see what we get back out. Okay, see? So big long string. Now let's change this to one. Let's change one thing. Let's change O to 0. Okay, and so notice. Try and remember a couple of digits here. OBEEC. Okay, ready? Totally different. Totally different. And it's virtually impossible to go back. Okay? Okay, so you might be saying, so how do we compare the passwords then? How do we know? Well, we hash it one way. So we hash it one way when they register, and then we store the hash, and then when they log in, we hash it in the same way. And the results should be the same. And then we compare the hashes. Okay, so let's do that. So in order to be really secure, we're going to run the hashing algorithm on our pepper string. Okay, and so let's echo our pepper as well. Okay, so another big long string. And now, in order to be really secure, what we're going to do is we're going to say password equals salt concatenated with password concatenated with pepper. Okay? Now let's echo password. Okay, so see, we have our password is now stuck in the middle. Okay? And now what we're going to do is okay. So now it's turned into one hash. Okay? So this is pretty secure now. Even the NSA probably couldn't crack this hash code. Maybe they could, I don't know. But, you know, just using brute force, it would take years, hundreds of years of computing time. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we store the... It's probably already in the database a couple of times. Okay, so now, okay, let's delete all these. Delete. What's going on here? Yeah, we'll delete. Let's delete. Yeah, okay. It's going to take forever. Okay, so these are the old ones where it stored the plain text password. This is the hashed password. So this is password hashed. Okay, so you could just do this. Like right away, you could just say, we could skip all this and just hash. But this is like really secure now, really, because we've, you know, and then this could be anything. We can do this, okay, and that totally changes our hash. The thing is, though, we need to have this exact same hash going when we log in. So let's try that, okay? So in our DB. We've created our user. So username, and actually how can we get rid of a bunch of these? Okay, so now we just have one with our hash password, properly hashed password. So let's go back to our login. And let's change it so that it works now. So our login still works the same, our form. Then we go to login DB, and now we're connecting to the database through a function. And now we go through here, and so now what we have to do, so we still select the username based on the username, and we still get the password. Actually, no, this is for logging into doctors, right? Shoot. Well, we can just change it to patients. Okay, let's change this to patients. Okay. So it's going to look up from the patients table now. Okay, and I have one patient. And so we're going to match the username. We're going to get a record back. Let's change this to patient password. Okay. Equals the password. So that's going to be the hashed password now. So what we have to do now is, so we'll change this here, and that's it. Okay, so we have to rehash the password that was given to us using the same hash procedure that we used. Okay, so we're going to take this, and we're going to go here, and we're going to go like this, and that should work. Okay, because we're taking the password passed to us by the form, and we're running the same hash algorithm. So the hash is going to be the same. Right? But we can always only go one way. We're only going from our string to the hash. It's almost impossible to go the other way. Okay, it's like scrambling an egg. Right? You can't unscramble an egg. It's just like this. Okay, so let's try it. Let's see if we can log in now. So Carmen and password. Password incorrect. Okay, let's see what the problem is. So, okay, let's do this. Echo password and echo, we'll just have a line break here, and echo patient password. Oh, do you know why? Because I changed this. So let me re-register. So let me go back to here, and okay, I'll just re-register with this new one, and so we'll delete. Yep. And let's go back here. So password. Okay, so let's check the database. Okay, it's in there nicely. And now let's go back to our login. Line 53 of, what was it? Login DB, line 53. Oh. We don't even need that. I think it should work. There we go. Okay? So, now you know how to properly store passwords. So I should never see any in your database. I shouldn't see any plain text passwords. Okay? That's one of the ways we can make our website more secure. Okay? So any questions now about inserting into the database and how to properly hash a password, and then how to use a hash password to check the login? Okay. Okay, I think we have time for one more thing today, and that would be the update. So let's look at how we might use. We might not get all the way through this example today, but let's start. So let's say you've logged in as your user, okay? And now, so we've logged in DB. It says welcome, and so let's also echo a link, and we'll call that edit.php or update PHP. Okay, and actually let's do this. So see how I have quotes inside quotes? One way you can get over that is do /quote. Okay, like this, /quote. Okay. And I'm going to call it, we'll say update. Okay? So let's refresh and see what that looks like. Line 60. Oops. Okay, so now what I want to do in this update form is I want my register form, but all the forms should be filled out already, essentially, with the data from the database. Right? So let's do that. We have most of the code already. So we have, so let's create, to modify the information in the database. Because let's say I created my username, my account. Oh, sorry, my phone number's wrong. I need to fix that. So how do we do that? So I'll show you. So we're going to create another file called update. And it's going to look a lot like this. Okay, so let's copy this in here. And we'll just call this update for now. And let's see. So we'll go here. This goes to update. And here's our update form. Okay, so what we want to do is where we can say, so first thing we need to do is we need to do some authentication, right? So we need to do this. Where's our index? So here we have to do this. Okay, so it's going to know our username. So let's try this. And then we could say update form for PHP echo username. Okay, let's see it. Huh? Oh. See, you guys are keeping me on my toes. Good. Here we go. Okay, so update for Carmen. Okay, so now we want all these forms filled in with the data from the database. So what we can do is we have to do a select. Okay, so do we have a select here? Where do we have in our third one? Login. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so we're going to use this query. We will copy this into update. So we're going to select star from patients where username, so we'll just do this. Username equals, okay, whoops. So now we're going to select star from, select all from our database where username equals username, okay? And now we're going to get, so we've already logged in, so we don't need to get the password again. And we would never pull the password out, but we can't now anyways because it's hashed. So we just leave the password. So, but we can get all the other fields. So we'll do this. We will do. No, we already know the username, but we want first name, last name. What else? Oops. Phone. What else? Health card, sex, age, weight. Okay, whoops. Okay, so now we have all these variables here now. And what we can do is, in our first name, we can set the value. Remember? And so normally we would hard code something in here. But what we're going to do is insert some PHP code that will dynamically set the value of that. Okay, so we'll go like this. We'll say PHP echo first name and PHP. And I think we might need a semicolon here. Let's try it. Undefined variable 18. Aha, so what do I have to do? so here it's saying DB is undefined. What do I have to do in order to fix that? Yeah. So what do I do? I say include. What do I include? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then have to do one more thing. Yeah. Right. I suppose another way you could do it is make a global variable in here. Like I wonder if this will work. DB this let's see if this will work. And then back here we'll just say we don't even have to do this. We'll see. Let's see if this will work. Nope. Line 21. Okay, I wonder if I have to make this explicitly global. Let's just try this. Oh. Query on a non-object. 21. No, I don't think it did work. Update. Yeah, no, it didn't work. Okay, so we're going to do the old way. Okay, and we'll set this back here, and we'll just return DB. Okay. Name of. Whoop. Oh, good call. Okay. Undefined variable. What the heck? I defined you. Oh, I didn't save. Okay. So, look at what is in my text box now. Okay, and we can do the same with the rest of them, right? So we just copy this. Actually, we'll copy the whole thing value, and we'll stick it here and here and here and here. Oh wait. Okay, I don't have time to show you the checkbox because what I would have to do is set up an if. It's not quite as simple as saying. So I'd have to say if sex equals male, then print out. I guess I could do it. We could do it like this. So say PHP, and so I'd say if sex equals male, then I want to echo out this. Okay, and then I have to see how I have quotes inside a quote? What I have to do now is put slashes beside all the quotes. Okay. And then we'll just say else. We'll echo this. And we'll get this over here. Okay, so a little more complex. But we can still, so this is last name, this is phone, this is health, what do I call it? Health card. And then, oops, copy all this. Age and weight. Okay, let's try it. Oops. Okay, I messed my HTML up somewhere. Echo. Hang on here. 6. What did I do here? Oh, I didn't close this part here. Okay. Oh, here I have. I think, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. See, any just a missing quote or something can mess up your whole. Okay. There we go. Okay, still something's wrong here. Oh, same problem. And okay. There we go. Okay, so now we filled out the form. So past that, that's actually my browser putting it in, not our code. So now what we want to do is we're going to change this to update. Okay, and we're going to change, instead of register DB, we're going to go to update DB. Excellent. Now we haven't created that file yet, so let's do that. Okay, so again, we're going to do this stuff. Okay, this is kind of like our header now. Okay, and so again, we can use PHP MyAdmin to get our SQL command. So we can update. Can we update? Yeah, edit. Okay, and let's change the phone number to something like this. Or we'll change. Well, it's basically going to change everything to everything. So now, what did it just do? Okay, so this is our update code now. Okay. So actually, I think let's change everything so we get it all. So let's do this. Okay. Okay, here we go. So again, just like we did with the insert, we're just going to take this and we're going to then change it to our needs. Okay. So it's almost exactly the same as the register one, because we're using the same form really, except that the data is already included. So let's just copy this. Okay, and then we're just going to change this stuff. We're going to say query equals string. Okay, and then we're going to change this stuff to, remember how we did it? Quote, quote, dot, dot, first name. Okay, and we'll do that for everyone. So let's do, we'll just copy this. Okay, and okay, so last name, phone, health card, oops, sex, oh, what did I do here? Phone, health card, sex, weight, no, age, weight, I didn't do this. Okay, now notice it says, so let's read this, it almost reads like an English statement. So it says update patients, so set first name to equal this, and then let's go to the bottom where patient ID equals 12. But that's not exactly what we want. We want to do it based on the username. We could do this. Let's do this. ID equals, and what am I going to put in here? ID. Okay, so now we have the ID, and now we can just do this. Because you should, like, ID is guaranteed to be unique. Username should be unique, but maybe something's wrong. So try and use the thing that's definitely going to be unique. So we'll copy this here, and we'll make this ID. Okay, let's try it. Cross our fingers. Hope it works on the first time. So let's change this to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go. Oops. Undefined index on line 7. Okay, so maybe, why didn't it like that? Never works on the first time. ID. select star. Oh, yes, it's not, yeah, oh, jeez, what am I doing? Okay. Oh, let's do it this way then. Because we do get it here. So we can do this. I'm going to show you a little trick. So we can get it here, because this is where we do the initial query. Then what we can do is, let me see, I forget exactly. We can pass it through the form as a, well, oh, here's what we can do. There's a couple of ways. We can put it directly on the URL here, but since we're using post, that seems a little fishy. So let me just see. It's been a while since I do this. Pass. So what we're going to do is just create a form element that is hidden, and we're going to give it. Can we make it just hidden? Size. We're going to pass it through a form element. So let me just figure out. Okay. Type hidden. Oh, that's not going to work, is it? Oh. Okay, let's try it. So there's a type called hidden. Input type hidden. Name, we'll make it equal ID, and the value will equal ID, right? That we got up here. So now we've got to go back to our update form, refresh. So now there's a hidden form value there. We go next. Now it has it because it passed it along in a hidden form value. And now we go back to our database. And what did we do? Oh, I didn't do anything, so I can't really check. Let's go back. Okay, so let's change the health card number to 1234. Update. Cross your fingers. Cross your fingers. Where's my refresh? It didn't refresh. Here we go. Shit, what didn't work? Okay, let's do this. Oh, I didn't save this. That could have been the problem. Let's go back. Still. Oh, yeah. There we go. See, I had to put that back. Okay. Now we should be good to go. Refresh. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Update patient. No, still not. What could be the problem? So, let's do this. Let's see exactly what we're trying to do here. Oh, do we need... I think we might need these. Let's try it. Let's see. No, what the heck? Okay, let's do this. Let's edit. And we're going to change this like so. Equals 12. Okay, let's figure out what's wrong with our... It's probably something with the query. Where patients... Okay, so it's in the patients table. Where... Okay. Did I run... Oh! Come on, you guys are supposed to be paying attention. I didn't run the query. I didn't run it. Right? I just formed a string, and that's it. So that's kind of a duh moment. So what we have to do is the same thing that we did with the insert. So we have to do db right? Exec, and then we actually run the query. That would help, right? So let's do it now. Why didn't it print out? It's not a good sign. Yay! Okay, it worked. Let's try it again. So let's update from female. Let's go to male. Okay. Okay. So you see how it can be really difficult if you're not really paying close attention to details? So, sometimes students of mine, because they can't figure out a problem at a high level right away, they get really frustrated and sort of give up mentally, right? The idea of computing is that you have to drill down to the finest point, right? And say, okay, is this part working? Is this part working? Is this part working? Is this part working? Right? You can never really solve a problem holistically. You have to solve it through looking at the components, right? It's just like when you plug in your stereo at home, you press play, there's no sound. What do? You start troubleshooting, right? You start out, is it plugged in? Okay, yes, it's plugged in. Is the volume turned up? Yes, the volume is turned up. Are the speakers plugged in? Oh, no, the speakers aren't plugged in. Okay, plug them in, now we got sound. Okay? But sometimes, if you don't have that troubleshooting mindset, they just press play and they say, it's not working. It's broken. And then, but they don't go through that process of, okay, why? What's the path of the data? Okay, so you have to understand it at a high level so that you can go through your code and say, okay, no, this isn't what I wanted to do. This is something else. Okay? So any questions about the queries that we looked at today? So we looked at update, we looked at insert and update. Yep. Yes, I'll talk about SQL injection next week. So you can do something called prepared statements. Really the way I showed you this, you wouldn't have this code that we typed today in a production site. I'm showing you this because it's the most basic version of the code and it helps to teach the concepts, okay? Because so you brought up a good point. Have any of you heard of something called SQL injection? Yes, okay? So for those of you who haven't heard of it, so let's say so my form is going to take a string from here, okay? And it's going to insert it. Let's say my register. So see, I'm creating a query here. Okay. So see, let's say first name. This could be a string, any string. So someone who's clever and knows a lot about databases could, in my form, end my SQL string and begin a new one. And they could drop my table, for example. The way we have it set up here, it's insecure, very insecure. The way we have it is it's vulnerable to SQL injection. Okay? So maybe next week we'll look at prepared statements, and that's just a way of basically doing the exact same thing, just the syntax is a little bit different, and so it protects you against that possible attack. Okay? But I wanted to just show it to you sort of at its most basic form so that you can understand the concepts. And later, because like I said, later on when you start using frameworks, you won't even be doing any of this. Right? It's like a race car driver. They don't understand about the engine. Right? They just drive the car, and eventually you guys will be like that. Because you'll understand how things work, and then you'll be able to manipulate it at a high level. Okay, so that was a good question. Any other questions? Yes. Yes, absolutely. We haven't done any Ajax yet, right? Okay, good. Absolutely, we'll talk about Ajax. Yeah, and JSON and XML. Those are linked. Because actually jQuery has Ajax functionality that makes it a little bit easier. So we'll take a look at that. And so, between jQuery and Ajax, you can really make some really nice, responsive, dynamic websites that are really useful and sophisticated. Any more questions? Okay. Good. So